Hey YouTube, it's Little Rocker Cutie 2005 here with you, also known as Andre. And as you can tell, I'm here by myself. Buffy Xenaman, also known as Chris, went home for a while. He will be moving in with me, I'm just not sure when, and I do have a little news. We probably will be moving pretty soon, but we're gonna try and do as many videos as we can until we have to move, because we want to be able to keep you entertained. And since Buffy Xenaman's not here, I figured I'd try my hand at a solo movie review. Now, what I'm going to review, I watched this movie with my mom a few nights ago, actually for the first time, and I really got into it and really enjoyed it. It is the Tom Hanks written and directed movie, That Thing You Do. Now, I think most people know the story of this movie. It's about this band and their drummer. Well, first I'm going to tell you a little bit about who's in it. You get a lot of like really early performances from some pretty big people. You know, you got Liv Tyler, you got Steve Zahn, Ethan Embry makes an appearance. Most of you know him from like Empire Records and Can't Hardly Wait. But little note, Liv Tyler was also in Empire Records with Ethan Embry. You got Jonathan Skate, who was the killer in the shitty Prom Night remake, but I think he's like the lead singer in this movie. And an early appearance from Charlize Theron, as a matter of fact. A lot of big people in this movie. But it's about this band, and they don't have a name at first. And their drummer, who was originally played by Giovanni Ribisi, it's a brief appearance, and he's a real goof in it, but he breaks his arm falling off of the sidewalk into the street. And they have Tom Everett Scott, who's working in his dad's appliance shop, filling in as drummer. And Jonathan Skate has written this song called That Thing You Do, and originally it was supposed to be a ballad, because all he wrote was like ballads and stuff. Well, the time came for the gig that he was supposed to do, and he played the drums too fast, so the rest of the band had to keep up with them. And of course, you know, they got a huge round of like reception and applause, and basically they record the song and it becomes a hit. And I shouldn't get into what the band's name is. It's the band called themselves The Wonders. They started spelling it O-N-E, like wonders, but people places they would perform at would get it mixed up and call them the Oneaters. But then once the song becomes a hit and they bring in Tom Hanks here, who's a big record executive, and he just changed it to straight up Wonders. And of course the song becomes a hit, and they basically just go around performing the song. It's basically, you know, about the trials and tribulations of your early days of rock and roll, and what you had to do to get your song on the radio and actually have it become a hit. But of course, the band falls apart because, you know, Jonathan Skate's character wants to do his ballads and all that. Steve Zahn, he runs off and gets married. I don't remember about Ethan Embry's character. I think he did something else after the band broke up. Tom Everett Scott, in the end, he becomes like, he gets to play with these big jazz people. And he gets a job on a jazz radio station doing like interviews and stuff, and that's basically what he ends up doing at the end of the movie. But another cool thing about this movie is the label that Tom Hanks works for, Playtone. It's an actual record label. They released the Bring It On soundtrack back in 2000 along with Sony and Columbia. I think they're under the Sony Columbia thing, but I'm not too sure on that. But this was just one of those movies that, for being a first-time viewing, it was a really fun movie, especially with the extended cut, because my mom always watched the theatrical cut. This is her movie pretty much, it's from her collection, and she always watched the theatrical cut. Well, I came in and said, well, why don't you watch the extended cut? And of course, we decided to watch the extended cut, and it's got like 40 minutes of extra footage. So it took like a 108-minute theatrical running movie and stretched it into almost 2.5 hours, which is really cool because it dives into more of the band's story, you know, more of Tom Everett Scott's problems with his girlfriend, who was played by Charlize Theron. But of course, in the end, he ends up hooking up with Liv Tyler, who was originally with Jonathan Skage's character, but he leaves her in the end, and she ends up with Tom Everett Scott's character, which that's kind of a happy ending in a way, because you knew those two were going to hook up. But all in all, this was just a really fun movie, and if I had to give it a rating out of 5 stars, I'd have to say at least a 4.5. This was a good directorial debut for Tom Hanks. I mean, he wrote, directed, and co-starred in it, and it was just, like I said, it's really fun, it's entertaining, and if you like movies about music or the early days of rock and roll, this is the one I would highly recommend. And I think that's about all I have to say on this movie. I hope you all enjoyed my first review of That Thing You Do. I have to go put this back in my mom's collection now, but once again, this is Little Rocker Cutie 2005, also known as Andre. I'm signing off, saying enjoy life, enjoy some Starburst, enjoy some Skittles, and in the immortal words of Chris, eat that chicken. And I'm out.